everybody.
Minister, it seems you're going to have to expand the room.
It appears so. Okay, Mr. McFarlane.
Good morning. Hold on. Although I think- Hi, good morning. Welcome to the Ministry of Finance and Planning and the Public Service. I'm sorry, we're also in charge of planning too. We are off to a late start, and we, on behalf of Minister Shaw, would like to apologize for that, and he will apologize himself, I'm sure. Today, we are here to witness not just a symbolic moment, but a moment that has real meaning, as it speaks to, as it publicly signifies a cementing of a relationship between Jamaica and the European Union, and acknowledges the long-standing support and partnership that exists between Jamaica and the European Union. Before I go any further, let me just formally welcome everybody. The Honorable Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Mr. Audley F. Shaw. The Honorable Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Mr. Carl Samuda. Her Excellency, and forgive me if I take this very slowly, Your Excellency, Her Excellency Mai Gorzala Wasilewski. I hope I did well. Head of Delegation, European Union. Other distinguished ambassadors and heads of missions of the European Union. Mr. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Agriculture and Fisheries, Mr. Donovan Stanbury. Other distinguished, Honorable Minister Rudyard Spencer, in the Ministry of Finance and Planning with responsibility for the public service portfolio. Honorable Minister of State, Minister Favour Williams, also in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service with responsibility for the Economic Management Program. And I also like to recognize Senator Albin Hill, Senior Advisor to the Minister, or Ministers, I should imagine, of the Finance and the Public Service. Other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, other colleagues from the Finance Ministry and from the Ministry of Industry, welcome again. This morning, we're witnessing a handing over ceremony in respect of the accompanying measures for sugar protocol countries, and in this case, for Jamaica. This is a program that has supported initiatives by the government of Jamaica to reduce poverty and to improve the living standards of affected populations in areas where sugar reform has been undertaken. And as we know, the process of reform is often a long and painful process for the persons who are being affected. And it is the duty of any well-thinking government to put in place measures to assist and to support the people who are affected by these measures. And in the case of Jamaica, these kinds of initiatives have had long-standing support from the EU. So without further ado, I would like to welcome and to invite Her Excellency Malgorzata Wasilewski, head of the delegation for the European Union to Jamaica, to say a few remarks.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. Honorary Audley Shaw, Minister of Finance and Public Service, Honorary Carl Samuda, Minister of Industry, Commerce and Agriculture and Fisheries, Honorary William Spencer, State Minister, Ministry of Finance, Honorary Favour Williams, Minister of State, Ms. Diane Davis, Planning Institute, Mr. Everton McFarlane, Financial Secretary, colleagues and ambassadors of the European Union, Belgium, UK, and Spain, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I am particularly pleased to be here with you and to start this new year, again, Minister Shaw, to signal the start of another phase in the European Union's program of cooperation with government of Jamaica. It is particularly pleasant to our ears to hear the praise and recognition of the partnership between European Union and Jamaica. It is of great importance to us, and I think we're marking the start of the year well with this ceremony today. This time, we are demonstrating our firm commitment to Jamaica's growth agenda with an investment in sugar industry. This is the first of two variable tranches of budget support under the accompanying measures for sugar program. Ladies and gentlemen, this allocation of 6.5 million euros, or over 900,000 Jamaican dollars, represents more than just a financial investment. It's an investment in Jamaica and its people. Although our support to the sugar sector goes all the way back to 1996, there are not many programs that have been going on anywhere in the world for such a long period of time. The current support under the sugar program began in 2013. This particular stream has started implementation in 2014, and in total it's a grant of nearly 30 million to support government's country strategy for the adaptation of the sugarcane industry. The program is 2006 to 2020. The specific objectives are to improve productivity of the industry, bolster crops and infrastructure, economic diversification of sugar-dependent areas, and revision of the institutional and regulatory framework to achieve progress towards the country's environmental goals. The challenges facing the sugar sector are well known. And as Jamaica readies itself for changes to market access, which are coming this year, the EU continues to be highly supportive of efforts being made to reposition the industry to mitigate the effects. Because we know that people are central to this industry, the vulnerable workers, the farmers that ensure quality of sugar from the field to the factory to the kitchen, the communities that depend on the industry, and all of us who use sugar and its byproducts. In general, the EU is satisfied that the government of Jamaica has made progress and has a positive track record in the implementation of the Jamaica country strategy for the adaptation of the sugar industry on most of the main objectives. We encourage the sector to use these funds effectively to build on these successes that have taken place so far. Ministers Shaw and Samuda, we anticipate that this partnership between the Jamaican and European people will produce even more success in this field. Through the changes, the European Union remains a steadfast partner to Jamaica and indeed to the world. I thank the ministers here today, as well as all the tireless staff at their ministries and at the Planning Institute, who is always central to the cooperation that we have with the government of Jamaica. I also thank my colleagues from the EU member states, because the EU funds are the funds of EU member states, and we have a responsibility in how the money is spent to the taxpayers of the European Union. These funds are dependent on indicators that are being met, and it is your hard work that makes it possible and visible. But I must also make mention of those directly within the broader sugar industry who take pride in what they do and make the work that goes into these programs not just about numbers and contracts, but about people and their families. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. May I now invite the Honorable Minister of Finance and the Public Service, and Mr. Aldershaw, to say.
Oh, we seem to have two
You
programs.
do have your
There are
agenda.
There are two
Yes,
programs,
I
one
think-
with me before you, and one with you before me. So,
Which one would you like to proceed
let me
on?
to- let me
Okay,
to-
I will.
and then you're more wrapping up.
All right.
Okay, no, I'm gonna proceed. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me formally welcome my colleague, Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Carl Samuda. I've decided to place him as the final speaker because he is the one with ultimate responsibility and the beneficiary. So he will be he can appropriately put everything into perfect context. But let me welcome my colleague ministers, Favour Williams and Rudyard Spencer. And of course, I'm going to attempt to straighten out my financial secretary in pronouncing the name of our head of the European delegation, Her Excellency Ms. Malgorzata Wasilewska, head of the delegation of the European Union. His Excellency Guy Severin, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Belgium. His Excellency David Fitton, High Commissioner of the British High Commission, who are EU ambassadors, of course. Ms. Carmen Rivers, Charge d'Affaires, Deputy Head of Mission Embassy of the Kingdom of Spain. EU delegation members, Planning Institute of Jamaica, Ministry of Finance and the Public Service staff, and the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture, and Fisheries staff, headed by the Financial Secretary and the Permanent Secretary, respectively. Good morning. This morning's signing of the EU handover instrument is yet another channel of external development assistance through strengthened bilateral relations between Jamaica and the European Union. The European Union accompanying measures for sugar protocol countries was signed on the 25th of March 2014. The fixed tranche was dispersed in the sum of approximately 7 million euros on October 23, 2014, and the first variable tranche, which is being officially handed over today, was dispersed in November of last year in the sum of euro 6.5 million. The second tranche is expected to be dispersed in March 2018 in the sum of euro 15 million euros. The disbursement of this first variable tranche of euro 6.5 million, or approximately Jamaica $910 million, aims to assist the government in reducing poverty and improving the living standards of the rural population in sugar-dependent areas affected by the EU sugar reform. The disbursement further aids the government's mission to reduce the economic and the social disparities of our rural areas by creating sustainable productivity increases to hundreds of people moving out of poverty. The specific objectives are the creation of a commercially viable sugarcane industry by strengthened sector management, improved field and factory productivity, development of the sugar-dependent areas to strengthen and support the improvement of living conditions, very key, improvement of living conditions in the sugar-dependent areas based on sustainable economic and social development, and supporting the national policy environment by improving the environmental and energy performances of the industry to promote the sustainable management of environmental resources and to contribute to an inclusive economy, social and environmentally sustainable growth. It is important to note that the European Union remains Jamaica's largest provider of grant assistance. I want to stress that. These are not loans that are going to add to our national debt. This is grant funding, and we are deeply appreciative to the European Union for their consistent support of Jamaica by way of grant assistance, providing over euro 1.2 billion in official development assistance since 1975. 1.2 billion euros since 1975 in grant funding. Can we clap for that, please? The government of Jamaica appreciates the continued contribution of the European Union to Jamaica's agricultural sector and other key sectors, particularly to the sugarcane industry, given the existing challenges which the government is seeking to address over the long term. Jamaica is committed to continuing the work being done under the AMS 2013 to the benefit of sugar-dependent areas in Jamaica and their residents, and looks forward to the sustained partnership arrangement with the EU towards the achievement of critical environmental, agricultural, and economic growth objectives. I'm going to exercise ministerial right to introduce my colleague minister, who I have to place it in context that he has been batting on a very difficult wicket, having taken over a situation where one of the major company to whom we had divested the industry has virtually given up on one of our major installations at Monimusk. And we have had difficulties also at Long Pond. And I want us to publicly commend the minister on the work that he has been doing to literally save our crops and to create an environment where we can have a smooth transition to new ownership at the appropriate times. And I want to say to the minister, keep it up. We do our best to support you here at the Ministry of Finance. And the key to all of this is to ensure that there's an orderly transition. And in all of this, we support the backing of the European Union, which is key in the process of ultimately successfully transforming the sugar industry. So, Minister Samuda, welcome.
Thank you very much, Minister. I sincerely hope that very lovely introduction doesn't carry a price tag. But thank you very much for your graciousness, as usual. Minister Shaw, Ministers Spencer and Williams, Head of Delegation, Ambassador Linska. Your Excellencies, Severin Fitlon, is it Fitlon? Fitton and Reves. Is that correct? Good, excellent. I must travel more often. Other very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our Permanent Secretary, Mr. Donovan Stanberry, functionaries, key functionaries within the Ministry of Industry and Agriculture, also from the Ministry of Finance. I wish to, first of all, indicate the extent to which our ministry is truly indebted to the kindness and level of cooperation and flexibility that we have received from the European Union. The situation, as the Minister of Finance has outlined, has been challenging for the industry in Jamaica among many factories, not the least among them some of the largest, including Frome, Monimusk, and of course Long Pond. In every single part of the country we have been challenged. Because you see, Ambassador, in Jamaica we are dependent on sugar for creating the jobs and the growth and the earning of foreign exchange as one of the key industries in the country. So you have no idea of how much we appreciate the support that we have received from the EU in getting us to this stage. And I think it has served well to prepare us for the challenges that are ahead. We have had our setbacks, and indeed the program had to be extended to September of this year because we weren't able to pass all the required deadlines on time. But have no mistake about it, we intend to do that, and we will fulfill our obligation under the program as now agreed. While discussing it informally before this function started, I took the opportunity to indicate to Her Excellency that we have not regarded this as the end of the road for assistance from the EU, and we will use creative ways of introducing new programs that hopefully will get funded so that we can continue this great work that has been going on with the program that has been in place so far. We are plagued, nonetheless, with all that we have done, we are still plagued with poor infrastructure. We are plagued with one of the occurrences that have taken place recently, something that is a plague on the industry, and that is the incidence of illicit fires. They have been burning a number of cane fields, and this costs a fortune and compromises the success of the industry. And we have asked from the length and breadth of the country where sugar is grown. And I asked this morning again to desist from this terrible practice because we are only harming ourselves. And most importantly, we are harming our small farmers, many of whom depend on cane, sugar cane, the industry, for their very survival. This industry employs some 50,000 people. And 2 years ago, it went under real stress because of weather conditions. We went through a severe drought, which was really the reason why we missed those targets. The prices became depressed. When we came to office, the price was somewhere in the region of $370 per ton. Today it is in the vicinity moving towards $600 a ton and climbing. So there's great encouragement. There's great enthusiasm. The extent to which the program has been able to transform the industry, and especially the players in the industry, by relocating them from barracks that were totally deplorable into nice communities, has lifted the spirit of the sugar workers affected. The fact that we have been able to go in and repair roads, to have introduced into the community social programs, training, facilities for sports, for enabling persons who had no hope because the industry had taken a dive. We have been able to introduce within the program support for them to go into their own little businesses and to become independent small business owners. So this program has been, you might say, a lifeline for the sugar industry of Jamaica, which plays such a vital role. But it has to depend going forward on collaboration. Collaboration between all sectors. Collaboration between the farmers, the manufacturers, the marketers, and of course, the government. Indeed, it is a partnership, and one that we believe will be strengthened between ourselves and the EU. And we hope that this will be a model for other such programs around the world where we have been able to, or we will be able to transform this industry. We are going to be diversifying the activities, but because of the program, we are in a much better place to be able to engage that process. Some of the things that we have been able to succeed with are absolutely remarkable. We have divested our sugar estates, but despite the fact that we have divested the sugar estates, it is the responsibility of the government to protect the interests of sugar workers. The fact that they are no longer owned by the government and operated by the government does not relieve the government of the obligation to the workers to protect their interests and to support communities where these sugar factories have existed for generations and generations. So where we find that there is an operation that is stumbling, it is, at least I interpret it, and I'm supported by my colleagues in the cabinet, that it is our responsibility to put in place mechanisms that will sustain jobs and will give them a fresh start so that we can go forward. So we are very pleased at the extent to which we have been able to undertake a lot of the hard and soft infrastructure through this particular program. Vocational skills is what is required to move us forward. We must transition from that place where the sugar workers leave no legacy sufficient to attract their sons and daughters to enter the industry. Youngsters are no longer interested in looking to cane cutting as an occupation. We are being affected by a declining population of persons working in the sugar fields. So we must come to realize that unless we introduce appropriate mechanization, new systems, new standards, new ways of doing business, new technology to attract young people, then we are living in a fool's paradise to believe that we can continue to grow with an aging population of workers. And it is here that we are going to be relying on the European Union to support us in our efforts to train young people who can be a part of this massive industry and not necessarily only function as cane cutters. We believe that we have reached a stage now which provides an opportunity with appropriate technology to move us much further ahead and to earn more money in a more efficient and clean and environmentally acceptable manner. So, Your Excellency, we thank you very much for all the support that we have received. You have our unswerving commitment to do everything in our power to satisfy the requirements under the program, to live up to the expectations that drove this program from the outset. We have a capable team of people who are guiding this program. And there is no lack of enthusiasm towards our final goal. And that is to give, as the Minister of Finance said, give an opportunity for our people to improve their quality of life, to make a better life for the next generation, so that the next generation will not have to go through the pangs of hell that they have had to go through, where they have seen their children grow and be deprived of essential education and training to move them into areas within the industry and outside the industry. This is our driving force that we are applying to this project. And we certainly hope that as we move forward and as we work with the European Union, that you will also come to realize the extent of our determination to succeed and to give opportunities for our young people, where all our emphasis is now being placed. Thank you very much, and it is with great pleasure that I participate in this. And I want, before closing, to thank the Ministry of Finance, because whilst the Ministry of Finance is receiving these funds, I just want to say they upfront money against the expectation that they will be reimbursed. And he's not very he doesn't take kindly to expenditures that don't carry any reimbursement. So I know he's a happy man today that the money that he has upfronted on our behalf will be reimbursed. So that we celebrate today, wholeheartedly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Samuda. And, you know, I can see that Minister Shaw is a very, very wise man when he directed that Minister Samuda give the closing remarks. We are all impassioned by those words. We'll now have the formal signing ceremony. Well, apparently, no, it has to have a particular ink.
Sorry. There you go.
Could I ask that we have a picture together with the member
Yeah,
states?
of course, please.
Because I am nothing without the member states.
Of course.
Okay.
And the other ministers, maybe? I don't know. How do we do this?
Okay.
See, Mr. Finance gets all the money and Donovan, we get all the work.
Okay.
So,
Thanks again.
thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you.
Okay.
Very good. So you've got the document?
So you close, you,
Okay, if there are any questions from the members of the media who are present with us, thanks for coming. And if you have any questions of the ambassador or Mr. Carl Samuda, we'll take them at this time.
Clever. We'll just leave the answers to the minister.
You like that, huh?
And the company from which you represent, and ministers, and Your Excellency, so we'd like also to advise that we're streaming live on GIS, so we have the wider community and the world watching us at this time.
very good.
Taking your questions.
Donovan, you have to arrange
Go
that
ahead.
for us at industry.
Good morning, Julie Pearson, RGR. My question is directed to Minister Samuda. I would just like if you could just clarify for me the confidence you have behind sugar. It has been a matter that has been back and forth in the media for a while now with non-fund and money musk. So if you could just, tell me where you're getting the confidence in sugar from.
Great. And why I'm insisting that we continue with it. First of all, there are several towns in this country that would be virtually, they would be transformed into ghost towns if we lost sugar. A sugar factory becomes the center of a town's activities. Not only because it creates jobs, but because it brings a spirit to the whole community. That's one thing. The next thing is of a global nature in the country. It is a very resilient crop. It doesn't do well without water. You must have water. And that's why irrigation is so critical and it's very expensive. That's why I'm glad that the chairman of the National Irrigation Commission is here because we are going to be pressing him very hard to make sure that we get adequate water supplies to all our fields. I've been pressured and will continue. And we'll accelerate the pressure because without water you don't do well. So you have a situation where it creates, the industry creates about 50,000 jobs or impacts about 50,000 people. There's no single industry that impacts that much. And also, it earns foreign exchange. And most importantly, when we say we earn foreign exchange, the retention factor is among the greatest, because the cane is grown in Jamaica, it's reaped, it's milled in Jamaica, and with the exception of the imported cost of the fuel, etc., the majority of the money remains in Jamaica. The proceeds of what we produce is retained by Jamaica and enriches us. That's genuine foreign exchange being earned in the real economy. So we feel that we play a very vital role in the contribution we make to the economy. And I know the Minister of Finance is very heartened when he hears that we are growing in the industry. This year we're going to have a better crop than we had last year. And with the introduction of new technology and new approaches and a new model where we are seeking to separate the factory operation from the field. They're actually two distinct operations. When you go to a factory, and I commend it to you, you will see that it is a highly focused and centralized type of operation requiring great technical skills, as distinct from the fields which require an equal amount of skill but of a different nature. So if we separate it and remove planters from factory, then you have two streams of employees who come together to witness the final result, which is the sugar that is produced. So I'm very excited about the industry. I don't know what I wasn't focusing as much in the past about the difficulties we have had and the challenges. I still maintain that with this new generation coming, and why I'm trying to encourage them is because with this new thinking, this new approach, this new level of commitment, that we have a real chance at making sugar grow and expand.
Sure. As you said, the question concerns the future, and I think we need to know first what the future brings before we can comment and be sure what impact Brexit will have on any area of our work. But it is too early to even know how the process will evolve. And as you know, there are many unknowns. So I think there is no possibility to project the scenarios at this stage. It's simply far too early. And what is important is that UK is very strongly a member of the EU now, and until that changes, we continue working in the same manner as we have been working in the past. But for this particular industry, at the moment the program finishes this year. And right now it is not clear whether there will be possibility to continue. As I said in my speech, it is one of the longest programs that EU has anywhere in the world. And I think we need to value and cherish that contribution already. And what the future will bring, I think we have to wait for it to come. If I can use the moment that I have the floor, Minister Samuda, I wonder whether on behalf of our colleagues, member states, and myself, we could ask you to take us to the sugar area, and together with you, if we could visit one of the projects, and perhaps members of the media could come along, and we could together see how the assistance that we're giving and the efforts that you are making are changing the lives of the people. I think that would be very...
We would be happy to give you a tour.
Very good.
Both for you to see the infrastructure, the hard infrastructural development, and we'll introduce you to some of the people who have benefited from the vocational training and so on. And for the housing, we take it to the community where the people are now living. And you'll be driving on the lovely roads that you were able to fund for us. And the person who is going to guide all of that, I'm going to shift my responsibility here now to my permanent secretary. He is a man steeped in sugar.
But you will come with us, of course.
Oh, yes, I will come, definitely.
And I'll tag along.
And Minister of Finance will come too.
I think that could be interesting also for the members of the media to have an opportunity like that, and we would certainly welcome an opportunity.
Lovely.
Thank you.
We will set that.
Any more questions? Well, it is clear that the briefing has been so comprehensive. I want to thank you very much, everyone, for coming out. I want to thank members of the media in particular, and let me say a special thanks to our ambassador of the European Union and her colleague ambassadors. Thank you so much for coming. Minister, always good to have you, and members of staff of our MDAs, thanks for your work, and all the best for the new year. Let's keep on doing what we have to do to improve the lives of our citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's always very tight here. Minister, thank you very much. Very good to see you. Yes. Yes, that would be very good. Let me just say thank you very much.
Donovan.
It's always so tight here. I think it's designed to make people stand close together.
Yeah, I was there Sunday.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So we will look forward to the joint visit.